Okay, yeah. Hi everyone. This panel is about Web3 infrastructure, so it's a little bit overdue, like after a few minutes. And also, now we have one guest missing, but we still have other three very experienced entrepreneurs in this field. So yeah, maybe now we can just get started. Yeah, I think maybe first we can give a short intro of ourselves. Yeah, I can start. Yeah, my name is Will, and I'm currently working at Foresight Ventures as a investment analyst. Currently still studying. CS graduate student at Harvard. Yeah, before joining Web3, I basically worked as an engineer at some well-known top Web2 companies like LinkedIn, Snowflake, and Databricks. So I'm pretty interested in the infrastructure side.
All right. I'm Charlie McCowan. I'm part of ZetaChain. I lead up the DevOps and cybersecurity efforts there. Prior to joining ZetaChain, I focused on kind of cloud security automation, just DevOps automation, AWS, that kind of world. That's me.
Cool. Hi everyone. My name is Bowen.
Okay.
My name is Bowen, and one of the co-founders of Proximity Labs. And Proximity Labs is basically the DeFi research and development entity on here, and we oversee the DeFi ecosystem strategies and growth and development on here. We work with different project founders to build DeFi instruments in different trading venues, and work with VCs to provide liquidities. We work with foundation to provide grants and investments. We basically do everything. So if you DeFi founder, come to us. And yeah, before doing Proximity, I was part of Nearcore. All the Proximity founders are previously Nearcore. My co-founder had a product, and one of the co-founders was core engineer that wrote core level smart contract protocol on here as well. And before joining Near, I was back at Omisigo. Probably like not sure how many of you know the layer 2 called Omisigo within Plasma as a scaling solution.
Yeah, we all know the nickname. We all know the nickname of that.
一币一嫩模, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was leading business effort there, and yeah, onboarded USDT, and when Omisigo got acquired, I just left and joined here. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Haichao. I'm working at Rooch Network. I'm the CEO and co-founder. So at Rooch Network, what we are building is a modular blockchain execution layer. So with that, you can deploy that as a layer 2, you can deploy that as a layer 3, and you can deploy that as P2P applications. So what we actually do is that we provide a smart contract execution runtime that you can use across different application architectures, and you can build your Steam application on top of different layer 1s, on top of in the different ecosystems, and you can build up your own ecosystem. It's a very flexible smart contract environment, and we are using Move language for this environment. The team right now, me and my co-founder, my past experience mainly around doing developer relation at 4 different layer 1s, including Nervos, Solana, Aptos, and Awen. And my partner, Joe Star, is the founder of the first Move public blockchain in this world. It's called Starcoin. So it's way before Aptos and Sui. And we only started this project from this year, and we're still doing our first round of fundraising. So very happy to see you guys here.
And I realized I forgot to introduce the important part of what is ZetaChain, besides just me, the reason I'm here. But so we're a omni-chain or blockchain focused on omni-chain connectivity. What that really means is for the developer experience, we want you to be able to deploy in one place and manage assets across multiple chains, really trying to streamline that process so developers can focus on good user experience, building products people want to use, and doing all that in a kind of a secure, decentralized manner. We have our testnet right now that is live, and our mainnet will be coming in the next couple of months.
Okay, great. Yeah, maybe now we can dive into the next questions. So after like a brief intro, what is like your initiative to build these projects, and what kind of specific Web3 infrastructures problems are you targeted to solve, and how you actually solve it? Like you can talk about from technical perspective or from other general perspective.
Yeah, and so for ZetaChain, it's one of the things we're trying to solve is the fractured nature of the blockchain world, right? We have different languages, we have different blockchains, different use cases, and not only is the user experience scattered, the developer experience is scattered, liquidity is scattered, everything's split all over. And so we're really trying to simplify that and streamline it by making it manageable one place. And sort of the way we do that is we actually have these observers that watch what's happening in all of our connected chains. We call them sort of our hyper-connected nodes. They watch what's happening, they reach consensus on what's going on, and then they can take action. That action might be on us, on the ZetaChain network, or it could be signing a transaction out onto Matic or onto BSC and taking action out of there.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that we're working on is over the past years, we've been mainly working on the infrastructure level and the toolings. Like for example, we saw a little bit like when the DeFi summer and the DeFi happened, there was limited capital that was flowing to near because most of the capital we see like actually flow between EVM chains, more for the EVM compatibility and the more familiar environment for users to go. And Solana was an extreme example, and Luna same. And so back then there was few limitations. Exchange native USDT, native USDT support to support liquidity inflow and outflow, on-ramp, off-ramp, and wallets as an experience, and Block Explorer bridges that would connect user activities to other EVM world, and custodians. Like for example, back in then, like few large VCs said like without custodians, we're not coming to deploy large chunks of liquidity. So these kind of like problems that we've been solving in the past year to make sure that people have sufficient tooling, sufficient ground to play the DeFi game with us. And next focus, I would say, once all this DeFi primitives and the DeFi infrastructure is being set, it's all about like building a business and shaping business identity. So what we're doing is focusing on instead of like doing everything everything that's happened in the EVM world, we're focused on very specific sector, that is order books. We work with DEX market makers, liquidity providers, and right now this near on-chain liquidity is actually even better than Cocoin, and we're aiming to surpass finance level and actually bring more of a off-chain trading volumes into on-chain. That's where like Arbitrum we observed Arbitrum in the very early stage when the airdrop happened for some period of time. Their liquidity, their primary market was actually on-chain, and we wanted user instead of flowing through the centralized exchanges to trade, near is actually a better place to trade because fast transaction finality, cheap network cost and things. So that's one thing that we've been doing. And second thing is about, I would say, usability. At Proximity Lab, we get quite hands-on on the project, but core pieces that we're doing is how do we improve the user experience for users to move from like more familiar EVM environment to near, right? So one thing we're doing is we developed the NETH wallet that brings MetaMask compatibility to the non-EVM world, right? Near is the first example. And also we did, in the past months, we did also a project called Blockchain Operating System, BOS, that brings, that helps different projects to store front-end code on your blockchain to different DeFi protocols, and also improve user experience because it will bring composability of DeFi application on front end. So with one single wallet sign in, you can access all DeFi protocols in a single UI. So yeah, shaping business identity and and improve user experience.
Yeah, right. So the problem that we want to solve is still just to take this industry one step forward towards the Web3 dream that we have. And if you look back at the history, well, first of all, let me give you a definition on what is Web3 applications. So our definition to that is, first of all, it's beyond DeFi. So DeFi is about creating infrastructures for trading tokens, but it doesn't create values for the token directly. For Web3 applications, that's the type of application that we envision could create values for the tokens so that our industry can have more cumulative values and our industry can move forward instead of just staying around in the same place with only meaningless tokens trading around. So that's the dream that we want to take a step forward. And if you look at the history, the Web3 application development is very synchronized with the development of the blockchain infrastructures. So for the first generation of blockchain infrastructure, you can see that there are just layer 1s. So if you want to build a Web3 application, then only maybe 10% of the application can be on-chain, can be implemented by smart contract. The only, basically it means the token part. You can only have a token on-chain, and the rest of the part of the application will need to be centralized and permissioned. And moving forward, we have roll-up or ZetaChain based layer 2 solutions where more parts of your Web3 applications can be implemented with smart contracts. So compared to layer 1, you can store bigger files in the smart contract, and you have better scalability in terms of TPS and gas fee. So more and more functionalities can be realized by smart contract directly, and your Web3 application is getting more decentralized and more permissionless. And moving forward to the third generation of blockchain infrastructure, which is the one that we are working towards, is a modular blockchain. So modular blockchain means that you have the full, you're basically limitless in terms of TPS, storage, and gas fee, and you can implement all the backend of your Web3 application using smart contract, and you can plug that into any layer 1s you want to plug in. You can use that as a P2P network. You can use that as a layer 3, whatever architecture you want to use, and that's kind of the application that we are working towards. And our job is to provide a solution for that, to make sure that your job is only to write a smart contract to implement your application, and for the rest of the infrastructure work, we will do it for you.
Okay, makes sense. Like, yeah, the last one is more about how to easy to onboard users. To care less.
Yeah, I think to onboard users, the first step is that you need to make sure you have a good enough product. So and in this front, I think we also have a similar methodology with ZetaChain in terms of that we feel like a lot of the features that a single web application need are scattered around different layer 1s, different ecosystems. And what we want to do is to make sure that all these features are aggregated in the same smart contract, in the same solution. So because we are building an execution layer, so it is easy to scale the two chains and to scale the features, and whatever features that are needed by one application, it will be integrated to our solution, and then it can be reused by another applications. So in this way that we can aggregate all the features into one place. This is kind of our methodology, and at the end of the day, we hope that our solution will be able to offer all the features that the developer application will need. That's the first step. And for the second step, I think for truly to have Web3 applications, we need to incubate a lot of the developers. We need to incubate a lot of applications from ground up. I think there are generally two approaches here. One approach is to directly work with all the existing Web2 companies. And this is kind of the approach that Polygon is trying to do. This is also Aptos is trying to do this way. They want to talk with the big players in the Web2 industry directly and give them money and ask them to migrate their solution to their blockchain directly. And usually this doesn't work because those big companies already have a very steady source of income. They have a very robust business model. They won't just change their whole architecture just for getting 1 or 2 million from you. So after working at 4 different layer 1s, I feel like we need to do this thing from scratch. We have to do it. We need to incubate the applications. We need to educate developers and to teach them how to do Web3 right and to rebuild this industry. That's kind of the approach I'm
Yeah, and what you're talking about with the kind of trying to aggregate a lot of those features so developers don't have to build them.
Yeah.
Because I think in the space a lot of the time, developers are focused on like technical implementation, right? It's like, look at this cool tech I built, and we care about that. People in this room care about that, but end users, they want a nice feature, they want an easy UI, and try to onboard those. So I think the role of blockchains and things like that is to make that experience better for the developers, so it ends up being better for the users, right? Like you said, sort of shared. Everyone gets the benefit of those features.
Yeah, I think what we just discussed actually touches a little bit about how to bring users on the platform and about like mass adoptions. Like, yeah, for the multi-chain and interoperability, it's believed to be not the future, it's already the reality of the current Web3 ecosystem. So, yeah, maybe we can talk about how, like, for each different projects, what's your opinion about bringing mass adoptions on your ecosystems, and what kind of efforts have you been made so far?
Yeah. So for us, it goes back to the developer piece, right? So one of our key metrics we're trying to measure is what are our monthly active users, right? It's not total value locked. Those are important things, but it's how do we get people to actually use this stuff, and how do we get developers who are building good products and good applications? And so a lot of that is, grant programs, kind of incubating people, getting out there and just sharing the knowledge and trying to find people who are working on these really cool novel ideas and bringing them on board. It's kind of the main way there, user education, that sort of stuff.
Mass adoption is a tricky word because everyone's trying to sell that, and while like we're still playing most of the chains were still playing zero sum games, because crypto is right now is still a very small world, with small group of very rich people, and DeFi usage is not that high compared to any Web2 applications. I think one is, I would say, education is pretty important. And user experience is pretty important. These are the two truly the ways to go with mass adoption. Like mass adoption. Right now we're building all this like sophisticated DeFi components that like probably like 90% of users will not even try to use. Like now we're even moving into a more sophisticated world where like Uniswap v3, right? All this protocol are upgrading to Uniswap v3, where the user experience is even more difficult than like Uni v2. You need sophisticated traders and to manage your liquidities and different financial gains. But what's truly going to drive mass adoption is have the users to feel seamless when they access your application. Just user comfort purpose needs very seamlessly. And like one thing that we try to do is like, for example, if we say like account abstraction is one of the ways like to address usability a bit, like that feature is built in your blockchain. And also, like boss is probably one of the ways to your lower user friction a little bit to onboard into using blockchain, because like it's just like 微信小程序, right? You just logging with your WeChat and to access all this mini app with a single login, right? That's where we see how we can improve user experience. And like for example, we're exploring with Galaxy to launch the Galaxy rabbit hole at different press platforms for them to launch those market campaigns with different blockchains and actually launch on bots. Because instead of hopping on and off into different applications and need to find those applications, you just have a single sign in, and the chain, for example, ZetaChain or whatever, they can like host their own gateway, and those gateway have their different DeFi components or application components where user can just access all in a single UI. That's where we see like where we can improve user experience and prepare for mass adoption. And I would say like maybe third thing is like try to get more users from Binance. Right? Binance has 100 million users. Like DeFi users is very limited. have like more of a private markets and moving them on chain and have healthier liquidity on chain is one of the way to convert some of the users and try to have them like move their activities to blockchain. So, and yeah, maybe education. Education is just a very general word. We're here to advocating about blockchain. So.
And you brought up a good point though about like mass adoption. That is a big question of like, what is mass adoption? Is it 100 million users from Binance? Is it billions of people, right? That is it, the day when everyone has one app on their phone that does something on blockchain? Is that mass adoption? Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, mobile app is I think is one of the ways. Lots of applications building their own mobile apps. That could be interesting.
Yeah, but 100 people using a mobile app, right? Same thing. So it doesn't matter where it is. It's the number of folks.
Yeah, I guess mass adoption is just a matter of time. That's one time we see the next killer app in Web3. But I want to bet $10 on that. It's not going to be DeFi.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's going to be something more like Stephen, or maybe it's better than Stephen, but have a better economics, something that is more sustainable, that's really utilize the features that you can have. You can use tokens to represent values. You can have better price discovery. This kind of things. I think it's just a matter of time for us to see it. And as the guys that we are working on the infrastructure, what we can do is to, for one thing, make sure that we have a good enough product, and secondly, listen to our developers, listen to the feedbacks, whatever features, whatever pain points they have, we just provide features for them to solve it. For example, for the user login, we just provide a kind of abstraction, you can customize features for that. I'm pretty sure that with all the technologies in the infrastructure and the smart contract and user interface these days, you can do whatever you want to do as a Web3 applications if you want to do it. So it's just a matter of time for us to say a 20-year-old genius to come up with the idea to take 100 billion users to their app.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except for I don't think tokenomics is what's going to make it, a billion thing, right? If you look at what we have now, people love seeing photos of cats communicating with friends. Like there's no tokenomics in the Web 2 world, right? I think that's, I think focusing on that's not going to be what gets us to 1 million users or a billion users, right?
But tokenomics actually doesn't mean the token these days. I mean, when everything becomes token already, like if you have a Web3 Twitter, your post is a token, and you can trade it. And if I like someone's post, I mint. I click on the like button, but what I actually do is I mint the like token and send that like token to that person. And that person, if he doesn't like me, he can sell that like token to someone else. I mean, everything becomes token, not like we integrate token to it.
Yeah. But I think a billion people don't care if it's a token, right? Or if it's like a database line, or if it's, some magic on the back end. Most people don't know or care. They just want to like it, right? And that's what they kind of go for.
Now we would need better user experience and better business models to have this kind of
One thing though, I think there was an interesting project that we bought into the near blockchain last year called Sweat Economy, Sweat Coin. I'm not sure if they're supposed to have 20 million users, and they do Web 2, they similar walk to earn model, but they coming from an advertising angle. They profit from selling ads on Web 2 applications. They have 20 million users. They do actually have a lot of traction, a lot of user activities. When they move their user activity on chain, we actually can spot those user activities. They're not wash trading. They're not once-off user spikes. But it was super difficult to convert those 20 million users. We tried various initiatives to help them to onboard and have more interactions on chain. It was super difficult to convert those users. Yeah, I think if we can find a trick that can actually work to convert those users, maybe we can be better prepared. I'm not sure if in the existing, right now, all this design of token economics and even GMX and G-Trade and things like those, they're all serving the rich people. Right? They're all serving the capital, all serving for the interest of people can like make capital gains on top of each other, and in a very small circle, and the circle is getting smaller and smaller, right? And we're not really prepared for like a dollar average user value, and that will expand to more users yet. Right? Maybe we can think of something more, but it's just one of them. It was super difficult.
What converted them? It wasn't, I'm assuming, selling them on blockchain didn't convert them. It was the Sweat app that got them on board, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, for example, we try to encourage them to do a trade, and they already have a wallet. For their wallet to connect into a near wallet was super difficult. Like, we just have to. The users need to stay in the application. They're not willing to move out of that single app. So then we try to integrate a swap function into the application. That actually worked a bit, pick up some volumes and some usage, but that was still a very difficult move for them to like make a swap into near, because they know Sweat, they don't know near. Then that part of education is still like quite costly as well, even from the coding as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with Haichao's idea. So I think like complex economics is for the rich people. I don't know. Yeah, it just makes economy gains. That's why I'm more interested in like what like L1 and L2, like this kind of infrastructure stuff. Like what kind of underlying value you actually get from this. And also I agree. It's just a matter of time. Like education and easy to use onboarding. I see pretty bright future in Waterdrip. And yeah, maybe after mass adoption is more about customer, like from a user's perspective. But maybe we can talk more, because this is Hacker House. We can talk more about like what are the efforts you've been made or plans made to help onboard more hackers to build projects on your ecosystems.
Yeah. So I think it's a multifaceted approach. Right? There's a lot of ways to do it. Some companies just throw a bunch of money at the problem and hope that'll bring people in. Some focus a lot on documentation. We're sort of taking a mix of an approach. One of the big things is making our tooling as compatible with the tooling developers already know and understand. So we're actually built on Cosmos SDK, but we're EVM compatible. There's already, however many dApps out there. People are familiar with Hardhat, Solidity, so they can bring their existing skills and come on board with us. So that's kind of one of the first steps, is meeting developers where they already are. You don't have to learn something brand new. You just change, instead of sending it over here, send it over here instead. A very small behavioral change. And then we have what we call our ZRC20, which is essentially an ERC20 token equivalent, just like you might be used to, that can be used across chains. So you can build a dApp like it's a single, you're operating on a single chain. You don't have to learn or really understand how the multi-chain piece works. We abstract that away, so it's very, very simple. So that's kind of the main piece, meeting people where they are, giving them tools they're familiar with. And then obviously we've just hired a new dev relations person who's great, going through improving documentation, making sure people can understand it, everything from the hello world, right? You're, someone who's they Googled, hey, how to be a smart contract developer, bringing them in, as well as finding these, experienced devs who are working on great projects. And for those folks, we're trying to, find them, which is the hard part. That's why we're here. Get them connected with our grants programs. When we start bringing people in, we have a lot of connections, with VCs, and try and help shepherd these projects and incubate them and take them where they want to go and give them the tools they need.
Yeah, I would say, like, as part of our initiative is, instead of competing with each other, we should probably work with each other more. So, like, the blockchain operating system is one of the ways where all these underlying transactions and underlying trades still happen in the blockchain on the back end. All you need to do is to host your front end and run your gateway and have your ecosystem components to build a front end component that is stored on your blockchain. And that solves a little bit problem. For example, like DYDX, they don't serve US customers. If you build on Boss, no one can stop you from serving US customers. So and it brings composability and the usability improves on the usability side. Like for example, we're right now talking to a few layer 2s for them to onboarding applications onto bots, right? That's one of the ways we can work with, like also like our some of our developers at Proximity, they actually went to cancel hackathon and won their prize because they built their front-end components and they stored and run on their blockchain. And yeah, that was it. Like those tasks are like very light tasks. Existing protocols can like finish their code and building the component in probably 1 day, and those front-end codes are like open source, can be forked by everyone. But what you really want as business is you ensure the back-end mechanism works well, and then you just let different hosts to run your front end and serve a better customer. And yeah, so that's one of the ways. Be more collaborative. And second, I think essentially in today's market, we still need to get people rich, right? So yeah, we're working with capitals and VCs and professional liquidity providers on that initiative too. I think we have a fair chance to compete with market with DYDX when they moved into Cosmos in September. They will cut mission. We don't know what's going to happen with what's happening in Stocknet and what's new in Cosmos, and also the DeFi derivative market is still very underserved market. If you see like in TradFi market, the derivative market size compared to the spot market size, on-chain derivatives is still very small. So there's a fair market potential there. So we try to build a market and make people rich.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just towards the hackers, then, well, I think hackers is different from the applications. Applications is more falling under the ecosystem approach, and for hackers, it's more as developer community. And for developer community, I think the most two important things are first the product, and secondly the service that you provide. And for the product side, I think the most important one is the documentation. It's not your product, your actual product is not tutorials, it is the documentation that is on your website. Can anyone look at the documentation and understand what they can do, and can they follow a single page of documentation and just finish a demo? And that's actually very important. So at Rooch, the approach that we are going to take is documentation-oriented development. So we read the document first, and we just read down, this is the development experience that you're going to do, and based on that, we develop our product. That's kind of the approach that we want to take. And for the service side, so it's also important. You need to be available, you need to be able to answer questions, and for anyone that who wants to get involved into your project, you need to give them the approach to do so. And in that front, I think building a DAO might be a good idea. That's also something that we are exploring. And as for the incentive, I think, well, for us, we don't have those money yet, but if we do, we would definitely want to throw up a hackathon, do some accelerators and stuff. Those are pretty standard, I mean. But at the end of the day, can you get a big enough ecosystem fund, or can you get a good enough killer application? That's kind of a chicken egg problem. Right? You can have a big enough ecosystem fund first, then you can have some good applications. Or you can have some application first, then you can use them as showcase for getting a bigger ecosystem fund. Yeah, I mean, those works. But for hackers, I think product and service.
And one thing you mentioned with the 24, like, you have to be available 24/7. I think we all know internally, but forgot to say, is you have to be global, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
Developers are everywhere, right? You have to be covering multiple languages, multiple time zones. It's not an easy thing necessarily to do, but it's super important to get people the support they need.
Yeah, I think maybe last. Can each of you like give suggestions to the hackers today?
Um, yeah, I mean, I can give suggestions all day. There's a lot of things out there, right? Hopefully one of them will stick and help. But the big thing is kind of focusing on that user experience, building features over technical implementation. A lot of the stuff we do is very, very difficult. And you should really leverage the services, right? So like what we've been building up here and the other ones out there to help accelerate your project. If you get stuck doing this nitty-gritty piece, you're never going to get a user, you're never going to get a customer. They're never going to try a product. You're not going to get feedback. So leverage the work that's been done before and find projects that can help accelerate your idea into reality.
Yeah, my suggestion is probably more on the business marketing front. Like spend, like hacking is important, right? Building product is important. But spend less time with your computer and spend more time talking to people and talking to communities. Spend less time having meetings with your team. Spend more time like in Discord and talking to your users. That's very, very important. I think if we want to prepare for better market for mass adoption, like there's three stages where a business can be a little bit successful. One is from technical part to productize the technical part, and second part is to marketize the product part, and third part is to commercialize the market part, where you convert like from marketing power to community power into money. I think we need to focus more. Applications needs to focus on the latter two part, like marketing and operating, and get to know what the market wants instead of like trying to build your own, basically your own understanding to build your product. That in 99% of the cases does not work. People can be super smart, but if they're not solving market problems, they're not gonna face retails. Second, business part, probably not yet. We don't need to worry about that much of angle yet, because we're not in a very saturated market. Commercialization is not that key priority, but like listen to the market more and talking to your communities.
Right. So if it's just one suggestion, I would say learn English is very important. Other than that, I mean, maybe research about modular blockchain, because it can be the next trend. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I think this actually marks an end to our panel today. Thanks everyone for joining. And if you have any questions, this is a very flexible environment. So if you have any questions, just come to chat with any of these three guys today. And thanks for joining.
Thanks everyone.